Poor lighting, loud faux finishes, and lack of texture. These are just a few seemingly minor design mistakes that will instantly cheapen the look of your home. In today's video, we'll cover 9 popular things that make a home look cheap and what you can do to fix them. A lack of texture in your home will make it feel flat and uninspired. One of the secrets to good interior design is to work with textural contrast and strike a balance between them. You need to include both smooth and rough textures and of course soft and hard materials, as in this way you'll create a sense of depth in your room. More often than not, our homes are filled with purely smooth textures, things like MDF, plastic, metal, and polyester pillows, as many of them are cheaper and more readily available. So my advice is to incorporate natural elements, as they're inherently textured like stone and wood, and of course, plants. On top of that, layer in textural fabrics like linen or pillows with subtle patterns over your plain sofa. You can also try to emphasize texture through light. For instance, casting strong light from an angle can accentuate surface texture, whereas using diffuse light will soften a texture. I talked about texture in much more detail in this video, which is one of the biggest reasons why most homes look flat and boring. Flooring and fixed finishes don't necessarily have to be the same throughout a house, but they have to work well with one another. Putting one type of wood look in the kitchen in an oak color and then another one in grey in the living area is probably going to be a disaster. It'll disrupt the flow of your home and give it a disjointed feeling, especially if it is an open plan space. Obviously, there will be some areas where you have to swap the flooring type to something more appropriate. For example, putting tile in a bathroom or laundry, or in a mudroom or entryway. If you have to have a transition like this, especially in open plan spaces, consider the tone and materiality of both flooring. It doesn't have to match, but you'll want to avoid them clashing with each other. I find that it is quite intuitive to choose consistent flooring throughout a home, as most people will just stick to one type of flooring. But what most people forget is that they also have to choose consistent fixed finishes. I've seen this mistake happen so many times with countertops and cabinets that don't go together at all, as they were chosen without consideration of one another. I think one of the biggest reasons for this is because many of the kitchens displayed in big box stores often have finishes that don't relate to one another at all. And many people take this as an inspiration. Or the people who are selling you these things are just pushing what is trendy at the moment, without considering things as a whole. So, if you're in the process of choosing fixed finishes, my advice is simple. Think holistically instead of individually. Not everything has to be a hero piece or unique. Sometimes simple can be the way to go. Or go for one hero piece and make sure everything else works harmoniously in the background to shine a light at that one thing. Clutter is the enemy of good design, and unfortunately, open shelving is often the culprit. You may not think so because open shelving always looks great online, but more often than not, it is in high-end homes and is very well curated. Plus, they have loads of closed storage space to hide other junk. My advice for open shelves is usually pretty simple. If you have enough closed storage and you have plenty of beautiful or sentimental stuff to display, then go for it. But if you have nothing to display and then you have to go to Target or Home Goods to buy random knickknacks to display, I'll just skip the open shelving. This doesn't just apply to shelves. Putting too many pillows on your sofa or bed will look cluttered, as will putting too many books and knickknacks on your coffee table. The key here is to exercise restraint. I prefer slowly adding one piece at a time rather than shopping for decor in bulk. Otherwise, you're just going to have a bunch of dust collecting decor pieces. Another culprit of clutter is usually the random miscellaneous items, which are often really annoying to organize. Lately, I've been using the Bamboo Lab A1 3D printer to tackle this clutter, who is the kind sponsor of today's video. As a total beginner to the world of 3D printing, I've been really impressed with the ease of use and capability of the Bamboo A1. It is almost as easy as printing a document, as the printer handles all the calibrations automatically for every print job. So all you have to do is import the models into the Bamboo Studio software, click print to send it to the printer, and watch as the magic happens. The print quality itself is really amazing. The objects are smooth and corners are done really well. I've been using it for so many things around the house, like this little custom-sized hook that I printed to fit perfectly to our cabinet door, which is used to hang rubbish bags in the kitchen when cooking. Or this little SD card holder to keep my desk free of clutter and my cards neatly organized. The best part is you don't even need to know 3D modeling to get started. There's thousands of models that you can copy for free from places like MakerWorld. Like this neat cable winder, which I find to be really handy in my dining area, as it keeps my long charging cable neatly organized. All I had to do was download them from the website into the Bamboo Studio app, print them, and watch it slowly come to life. No more long dangling cables. I even tried printing a vase because it's always fun switching home decors. And look at how beautifully done this is. The details come out really nice, and I can style it with a branch on my bookshelf. The Bamboo A1 is constructed with full metal rail, so it feels really sturdy with a decent sized touchscreen for ease of operation. You can also get the AMS light attachment for the Bamboo A1 like I did here to get multicolor printing, which allows up to 4 colors at the same time. If you're looking to get into 3D printing, I think this is a perfect machine to get started. It has all the features you need and more, with ease of operation that is second to none. You can check out the Bamboo Lab A1 via the link in the description. Thanks again to Bamboo Lab for sponsoring today's video. The poorer the lighting, the cheaper and more rundown a room will appear. More often than not, people rely solely on a single overhead light source like recessed ceiling lights, builder-grade boob lights, or the light on a ceiling fan. But these are often too harsh or cast unflattering shadows. That is why I've said many times before, you have to layer your lighting. This means having all types of lighting in your room: ambient, task, and accent. The easiest way to achieve this is to have lots of different lights at different heights throughout your home, such as floor lamps, table lamps, and wall sconces, in addition to your ceiling fixtures to create depth in your lighting scheme. If in doubt, take a picture of your space throughout the day and notice which spots are particularly dark but you need it to be brighter, or where you do certain activities at night like reading, and then place an appropriate light source there. Ceiling lights do serve a purpose, so you should keep them. You just need additional light sources. But if you have really dated ceiling lights like builder-grade boob lights, consider covering them up with a nice shade. You not only have to pay attention to your light fixtures, but also the bulbs you put inside them. Choose the correct color temperature for your room. Homes generally require anywhere between 2700 to 4500 Kelvin depending on location. Anything more and it's starting to get too sterile, as they're typically used for commercial settings like hospitals. Check out my video on how to light a space if you want to learn more about this. Secondly, don't forget to check the brightness of your bulbs. Lumens are a measure of the total amount of light coming from a light source. Pretty much it tells you how bright a bulb is. But choosing a bulb based on lumens on its own is not enough, because a bulb of say 1000 lumens may look really bright in a very small room, but appear a lot dimmer in a much larger room because there is not enough brilliance to shine across the whole room. That is where measurements of foot candle and lux comes in handy. They are both the same thing, indicating the light intensity in a specific area. Bad window treatments, whether that is outdated drapes or ones that are hung incorrectly, will instantly cheapen the look of your space. They're a large feature in a room that you can't avoid noticing, and if poorly executed, will instantly detract from everything else in your room. So, if you have anything dated like vertical blinds or cheap plastic roller blinds that have turned yellow, consider replacing them with something new. You can get roller and Roman blinds for relatively cheap, or sheer curtains on tracks are a popular choice, but they can be expensive to get custom made. So anything from the store that you can hem to the right length in a nice fabric will do. Personally, I like the look of an asphalt curtain on a track, as they look much more refined and are smooth to operate. But pinch pleats are also popular, or curtain rings, which are a cheaper option. Regardless if you end up with curtain, roller blinds, Roman blinds, or even Venetian or shutters, the most important thing with any window furnishings is that they fit and are installed correctly. Expensive fabric or finishes won't do you any good if they're installed incorrectly. Many people get them wrong because ready-made options are much more readily available and often cheaper. But window furnishings are not a one-size-fits-all approach. It is a bit like buying a suit or a dress. Ready-made can fit well if you happen to be whatever the manufacturer's cut is, but custom-made will always look better. I have a whole video on rules for hanging curtains and common mistakes to avoid if you're looking to hang one. Otherwise, if you're looking to get Roman blinds, you need to get them a few inches wider and longer than your window. For roller blinds, you can do an inside or outside mount, which will differ in measurement. It is important to have a cohesive look, but having everything match will only make your home feel generic and uninspired. Firstly, there's the bulky matching furniture sets. I'm talking about the ones you find in big box stores, where everything from bed to dresser to sideboard to sofa is the exact same color, material, and silhouette. Most of the time, they'll instantly give your home the showroom look, where nothing is curated and there's little to no thought behind it. And it's really hard to get away from that because they'll make up the foundation of the room. They also don't take advantage of the unique layout of your home, so when you put these sets into your living room or bedroom, they can feel forced and awkward. The approach that I like to take instead is choosing one major piece as your starting point, and then slowly curate the pieces around it. You can use our decorating checklist and beautiful home guide, which you can download for free to help you get on the right track when decorating your home. By slowly curating the pieces in your home, you can have a much more elevated and, more importantly, a home with personality that reflects the people who live in it, rather than a basic catalog look. I teach all of this in my practical home design course to help you design a home you love and execute your home design project within the constraints of your budget. Secondly, there's the everything in the same shade of color. A monochrome or neutral room can look really nice and visually appealing, but there needs to be variation, be it texture, material, or using different shades and tones of the same color. I have a whole video about this if you're looking to decorate mainly with neutrals, so you can avoid some of the most common mistakes. Scale is crucial for a space to be pleasant to the eye. An oversized piece like a sectional that is too big for the space, or an extremely bulky chest of drawers in a tiny space will throw off the balance of a room and make it feel just as disproportionate as an undersized piece of furniture like a table that is too small for a dining area, or a TV unit that is smaller than the TV itself. What happens much more often than you'll think is people buying rugs that are way too small for their spaces. Rugs need to be big enough that you can fit the entire rug underneath your sofa, or have at least the two front legs of your sofa rest on the rug. In this way, it'll ground the space and create a zone rather than having a randomly floating lounge and randomly floating rug as two distinct elements. It is better to go bigger than smaller, as a larger rug will make your room feel more spacious. There's nothing wrong with a few well-done imitation pieces here and there throughout a space, but when poorly done and very loud fall pieces are used as statement pieces, that is when I think there's an issue. The discrepancies between the fall piece and the real thing won't go unnoticed, and once we notice that, our brain will perceive that the entire space lacks quality and is cheap. This is often the case with porcelain or laminate that is made to look like marble but has very busy patterns, fake distressed furniture, fake brick pattern wallpaper, and fake porcelain dining tables. Other DIY fall designs like putting marble pattern contact paper on countertops or painting marble veins onto countertops also never tend to be pulled off well. Yep, you guessed it. I can't end this video without trashing on word art. They always come across as cheesy or cliche and give off low effort and cheap vibes. There's really no reason why you need to let your guests know that you live, laugh, love, or that you cook in the kitchen or dine in your dining room. Same goes with mass-produced art from dollar stores. If you like it, then sure, go for it. You should do what you like. But if you're buying it just for the sake of filling an empty wall, I can only recommend hanging nothing at all. Art is so accessible these days, so there's really no reason why you can't get your hands onto something better. Or perhaps display your own photographs, or a collection of family photos, or things that relate to your hobbies. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on how to get the magazine look on a budget, and 10 ways you can make your home more cozy and inviting. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.